What's goody? It's Bear in the building. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kueen Talk. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this very special episode, you guys. Today's guest was born and raised in South Philadelphia. They are a trans non-binary individual. Through vulnerability and openly sharing their story, they aim to spread love, joy, and awareness. Please welcome Al. Al, welcome to Kueen Talk.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Another TikTok find, you guys. I be scrolling like I did in the intro. I found you because you were just being vulnerable, sharing your story on there. And we're willing to get on the podcast, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you reached out. It's been like such a dream.
Sweet. Hey, I love it. I love it. Is this your first podcast?
This is my first one. I just recently did a live for a short queer film that's coming out soon. And that was like as close to a podcast as I've done. And then there's another podcast, That's What They Said, that I'm going to be on. But you are the first one.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I hope I give you the great experience being your first podcast. With the short film that we're talking about, I did see that briefly on there. I didn't watch the live, but I seen that you were like advertising it in your bio, and I thought like the story behind it was pretty dope. Just sharing that story, like they said that there's not many stories being told of the layers that it comes to being a person of color who's queer, dealing with the faith and all of that religion. Especially, I seen their parents were one's a pastor and a first lady, so that was awesome.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. That was actually another TikTok find. They found me and they reached out to me and the producer, the writer, and it's like a whole team behind them. And they were like, hey, we're trying to put this story out there. We're working on this short film. I'm very big on like supporting queer media. And when they brought this to me, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I love this. This is awesome. And recently, when we were able to like communicate more and have our time on that live, we just like really connected and shared our stories. And I was like, I feel so connected to this and I feel so inspired. It like made me get back into my own writing. And I was like, this is actually incredible work. And they even sent me the script and I was able to read it. So it was like really nice to hear the story start to finish. And I'm like, I really believe in Layers. Layers is going to be really great.
Yes. The movie Layers, they're raising money. I'll just plug the link down below too, just because I was it was pretty dope. And like I said just previously, like you don't hear those stories often of being in the media. Movies are just portrayed like it gets unnoticed or doesn't even get produced. Are you wanting to be in media? What's your relation to like the media world?
Yeah, well, so I was a theater kid growing up. So I did theater all of my high school career and I loved it so much. And then, we grow up and life happened. So it was kind of like that wasn't like in my future. But then within the last year, almost 2 years now, I started posting more on TikTok and putting myself out there more. And I started to actually gain a following and attraction. And I was like, wait, I can kind of get back into this. This actually might be a thing. I've always loved writing. I've always loved performing. I've always loved videos and making videos. I did that even when I was really young. And I recently just was like, I really got to dive into that and that vulnerability aspect. And so that's what really kickstarted my TikTok journey. And I want to be in media this year. It's like my goal is, fingers crossed, by the end of the year to be in something media related and put myself out there as much as I can. Yours is an incredible story and opportunity that I'll 100% audition for. If it doesn't come to fruition, I know that I'll be able to be in the room. And the director and writer of Layers wants to actually work together and maybe creating some of our own stories. So I think that would be really cool. And just getting myself into the film and like TV industry. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a writer, so I'm working on a novel currently as well. And once that's finished, that's going to be like another thing that I get to put out there.
Yes, I love that. It's like, I always talk about this though, but just like after high school, like we kind of just go into a job and we kind of get in this rat race is what they call it, of just like your everyday 9 to 5 going home doing the same thing, and you lose that creativity. You lose those dreams and aspirations that you once had, because it's like you're adult now, you got these bills to pay. But it's like if you really want it, you can do both. Like if you put as much hours as you do into the job as you do to like your passion and your dream, like it can be fulfilled. I love that you're tapping back into that. And it also just brings, it helps when you have that community around you. Like when you have people around you who are in the same thing, or you can see it within reach, like you're like, okay, this can be a thing. It's just, it is like all about your circle and who you hang around with
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, like I think that that was like the hardest part for me was like figuring out that like there is more outside of that. Like growing up for me, it was like you had three options. It was military, school, or get a job and pay rent. So it was like those were like the three things that were like, all right, these are my main focuses. And for me, right after I graduated, I really didn't take school or anything like that pretty seriously because I was just gonna follow in my brother's footsteps and join the military. And I did, and it didn't work out. And I'm glad it didn't. I'm not a military kid. But like I really that like turned my whole life around because I was like, I thought I was gonna be 20 years in the military and that is actually not at all the direction that my life went in. And I went in a completely different direction and a direction that no one in my family has taken. So it's like all brand new territory, even in that realm. And I think that losing that creativity just kind of like continued to grow. And I started working and I worked really hard. And, you know, I love my job, but also I love being creative. And I think I lost the sight of that. And then when I found my identity, I found my creativity again. So then it was like, oh, wait, I can actually rebuild on that and pull from that. And that's where it started to
Yes.
like kickstart again.
Yes. What got you into that creativity? What you said you went in a different path and none of your family has been. What path did you go to after high school?
Yeah. So I went to high school. I went to just boot camp. I left boot camp, came home. And then when I came home, I lived with my parents, paid rent, and I took the get a job and pay rent option. And it just wasn't a great environment to be in. So I left my parents and I moved in with an ex. And then after that, you know, they took me in and that was like a while of my life, kind of just like just figuring things out. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, my ex did not want me to return home, so I didn't. And then I was homeless all of COVID. I moved 6 times during COVID, everywhere between Philadelphia and Virginia. I lived with my brother at one point. I lived in Virginia Beach at one point. I lived in different parts of Philly at one point. A lot of traveling, a lot of packing my car up and moving from place to place, couch hopping, lived with my cousin for a little bit, lived in a house of five. And it was a lot of self discovery. It was a lot of like, I will not go back to my parents' house. I refuse to like bite the bullet and go back to a place that was like not great. So I was like, I'd rather be homeless. So I was, and I figured it out. It was, you know, hard, but we made it through. And I had a lot of support around me. I had a lot of friends, a lot of chosen family, which was really, really incredible. Then I started to lean more into the queer community and be with the queer community. And then probably around like 2 years or so after COVID is when I really started to be like, it might be non-binary. I'm kind of figuring myself out. And I started testosterone in 2022. And then from there, it's just evolution. I met my wife and we moved in together. We've lived together and been together ever since. And, you know, I started testosterone. I had surgery. My mom got breast cancer. So seeing her go through something like that was very jarring because she was only 45. So for her to get something so, you know, terminal so young, and thank God it like she's alive and she was able to fight it. But seeing that happen, it was like, yeah, I can't like I'm 25. Like
Yeah.
I gotta do more. I gotta put myself out there. There's so much that goes into this. So that's what I did. I was like, yeah, I gotta share everything. So I did. And then I started posting my surgery and every step of my surgery, every part of my journey with my surgery. And then I gained a lot of traction. A lot of people were like, oh my God, this is so helpful. Oh my God, thank you
Hmm.
for being so vulnerable. And I was like, me just answering questions is like, it's vulnerable to others because some people
Yeah.
are like, I wouldn't answer these questions. These are so invasive. To me, I'm like, I talk about whatever. I'll answer anything. It doesn't matter to me. I'm glad I could help somebody. And I ended up getting so many people behind me that it was like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. I do. It is important for like just sharing your story. It does just help so many people. That's why like Kueen Talk was a thing, but it does. And I feel like your story of just like it being vulnerable and telling like the process of like everything that it goes through, and because it comes with a lot of love, but you still get a lot of those comments that are just like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it for you, but I'm doing it for these other people. How have you been able to overcome that aspects of everything? And since like everything has been literally eyes all on the transgender community.
Yeah, I think that like I had to learn very quickly within my transition that like I have two options. I could live for myself and do everything for me, or I could live for everyone else. And if I chose to live for everyone else, then I wouldn't have transitioned. I wouldn't have got surgery. I wouldn't have put myself out there and like recorded the videos and posted everything that I posted and shared my journey, and that would be me living for someone else. And then the ultimate question was like, how does that make me feel? You know, like at the end of the day, when I go to bed at night, am I like, yeah, I really lived today to the fullest? Or am I like, I kind of like, I guess I made other people happy. And then when I realized that like living for myself would automatically get people to gravitate towards me, it really opened my horizons. I used to struggle when I was a kid and the idea of like people had to like me because you want to be liked. No
Right.
one doesn't want to be liked. I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. I didn't think I was very attractive. My teeth were not straight. That was like a huge thing for me. It really played a huge place of
And
insecurity.
they straight and white now.
They are now. And I like really had so much like insecurity and just like I really looked for other people's validation growing up. And one of the first things like my dad said to me, and me and my dad are great now, and my family in general are great. But one of the first things my dad said to me when I came out was, you know, as long as you don't try to be a boy like your cousin. And I was 13. So like for me, it was like, yeah, all right. I mean, you're cool with me being gay. That's literally all I got to ask for. As long as you're not mad at me for being gay, I'm cool. We're cool. Everything's great. So when that happened, it was like, I kind of lived my whole life under that lens of like, don't do too much. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair until I was 18. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things until I was 18. So then when I finally turned 18, it kind of flipped a switch for me. But then on top of that, it was really like, how do I continue to live for myself? At one point in time, like I cut every close family member off. Like I cut my dad off, I cut my mom off, I cut my sister off, I cut my brother off, because it was ultimately like, am I going to give you a piece of myself and be unhappy with myself? Or am I going to live for me? At the end of the day, you're not paying my bills. You're not changing anything when it comes to my daily life. Like you're not doing anything for me. So why should I sacrifice my happiness that I'm only going to have for X amount of time to please anybody else? And when I realized that and I like unlocked that part of myself, it was just like, man, I really don't care about anything else. It doesn't matter. You either want a relationship with your kids or you don't. You want a relationship with your siblings or you don't. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be here. That doesn't change. And so that really like stuck with me. And eventually it worked. Like it proved true because like my
Mm-hmm.
parents did come around and now my parents call me Al and they respect my pronouns. We don't have these conversations, you know, like I was like, oh, okay. So you were capable of it. It was just a matter of were you going to do it enough to respect my boundaries or not? And like, I think about my brother, me and my brother are so close. I love my brother to death. And that was a relationship I didn't have growing up with him. And then when I transitioned, we had so much like tension between us. And then my brother just turned into a different person and we repaired that relationship. And that's like the best guy ever. Like that's just my, like, there's no one that I could say that I'm closer to than my brother. And that really like sticks with me because it's like we are capable of it. You know what I mean? As long as we stay true to ourselves, these people will gravitate to you.
Yeah, I love that. I want to touch on that a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot of people in here that maybe be dealing with family situations just like you. Like, what do you think got them to the point to where they're like, okay, this is who Al is. I'm going to accept that and whatnot. Like, where did it start? And then, like, how did we get to where we are today?
And I think it started with one sticking firm to my boundaries, being like, hey, this is who I am, whether you like it or not. And I think that's the hardest part, right? Because the hardest part is like you have to be 100% okay and willing to accept that there's a chance that these people will never be a part of your life again. You just have to be okay with that. Like, I have a sister I don't talk to. I got like 6 nieces and nephews I don't speak to, because she's not okay with it. And that's okay with me. That it hurts. I know that I have so much love in my heart and I could give so much to those kids. I could share so much love, but it's like, if it's not meant for me, it's not meant for me. If it's not meant for them, it's not meant for them. And there's nothing, forcing it is not going to do anything for anybody. And like, the kindest thing you can do for someone else is to just be honest. And if that honesty is too much and they can't handle it, or they don't like it, or they don't want to be a part of it, that's okay. Because there's so many other people in the world. And I think that sometimes it's like, that whole blood is thicker than water thing, that whole like, your family is supposed to be here. But then I really unpacked like, what is love? Like, what is unconditional love? Unconditional love is like,
Unconditional.
yeah, like there's no conditions to it. You love me because I am here for you. I take care of you. I would like to say that I consider myself to be the most generous person that I know. Like, I'm very generous. I'm very kind. I also think that I struggled with saying those things about myself. I struggled with being like, this is what I have to offer to someone else, because you don't want to sound, cocky or self-centered, but also you have to know your value. It's like, if I have a friend, any of my friends could call me right now and say, hey, I need a place to stay. Hey, I need your help with this. Hey, I need you to do this. And I'll drop everything and I go. Same thing with my family. My mom could call me when I found out about her cancer. Like, the next day I was at her treatment. I was at every treatment appointment. I took her to every chemotherapy. I sat with her during all of her appointments. I made her laugh. We talked together, we chilled together, even though it was the hardest time of her life. And regardless of what me and my mom could have gone through when I was a kid, that was my focus. And I like to think that that's just me at my core. And I think that that's a privilege to have. So like,
Yeah,
if
it
someone
is.
else is around me and they're like, hey, yeah, I really love this. Awesome. Do you love me too? And if you don't, I don't think you should really be here. And that's
Yeah.
okay. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. But then on the flip side of that, like, I think, for instance, my little sister and I, we were really close. She was really okay with my transition when it first happened. And then she turned and went really into religion. And it was hard because it was like, man, my sister is now an adult and I have the opportunity to like really hang out with her, really bond with her. But she got heavy into that religious state. It was like insane that she would say things that was not okay, that it was like, all right, I got to let you go. And eventually, and everyone's in your ear, my mom's like, oh, you got to repair your relationship with your sister. Oh, you got to, I don't have to do anything. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I exist. My existence is not a problem. And if it's a problem for someone else, it's up to them to no longer feel that problem. And eventually, that's the hard part. That's where you get to the hard part, is letting that person come back and
Yeah.
not holding animosity when they do.
Mm.
Because a lot of times people circle back and then we're like, well, I'm mad at you because you circled back and now I'm upset at everything you did. No. If you're willing to say, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I love you now. Great. I love you too. Let's move forward. I don't hold
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. That is a good point of just like, maybe because of all the hurtful things that they said during that time, and it's like, okay, now you want to come back and you're like, okay, but it's like you can forgive, but you won't forget that stuff that happened. But you definitely can't forgive if you want the relationship still to continue. Earlier you said that when you told your dad that you told them, obviously you told them you like girls, and then you told your mom too, and they were okay with it for a little bit, and then did something like happen and escalate to they're like, okay, like we don't like this. Was it when you told them that you were wanting to transition, or how did it change from being okay to not?
Yeah, well, it's pretty funny because when I came out to my parents, in like middle school, I was bullied a lot. And like, me being gay in middle school was like the thing that was held over my head. That was like the thing that bullies could use to be like, hey, I know you're gay. I'll tell your parents. So I was
Mm,
going into high school. I know, right? It's crazy, kids. I was going into high school and I was really scared. I was really scared going into high school that the same thing would happen. So I was like, I don't want to go into high school and feel that fear and feel that shame. I might as well just come out to my parents now, especially because the high school that I went to we were the first graduating class. So there was no upperclassmen. So I think I was unique in that sense of I never got bullied by upperclassmen because we were the upperclassmen. Like there was no seniors above us. We worked our way up and we were the first seniors. So we really set the precedent for the school. And
That's
that was a
cool.
really, I know, right? That was a really cool experience. Like I think that I don't know how high school would have shaped me if that didn't happen, because I came out to my parents and the first thing that I cried to my mom for like 3 hours, and I laid on her bed and I cried and cried and cried. And then finally I got the words out and I said, Mom, I think I'm bi. And like,
That's just
I,
so funny to me because I feel like a lot of people start with that. A lot of people start with "I'm bi." It's like giving them a little hope still. Like you may get it, you may not.
I had no intention on ever being with a guy. No intention. But I was like, I think I'm going to soft launch. All right. So then you're not really too worried when the time comes. I'll soft launch it. So I was like, Mom, I think I'm bi. And when my mom was cool with it, I honestly, like, I didn't really care what my dad would say. And almost, I guess, because in a way I felt like he would be cool with it, because like my parents were very heavy on like 16 and pregnant. My mom got pregnant when she was 16. So like they were very on the heavy train of like that. I could be like, hey, look, that's not happening. So when my dad found out, it was kind of like, all right, bet, as long as that's not happening, I don't care.
Yeah.
But my mom, like me, we were so close. We talked all the time that I was so worried. I was so scared. And I told her like, Mom, I think I'm bi. And she was like, you think I didn't already know this? And I was like, all right, so you let me cry here for 3 hours when you knew what I was about to say to you? And she was like, well, you had to come to me. Like, I can't tell you what to say. I was like, all right, fine, that. And so I felt really, after that, I felt like a weight was lifted. I went to my dad and I was like, said the same to my dad. My dad was like, cool, as long as you don't try to be a boy. And to me, a 13-year-old who's figuring out their body, their identity. To me, it's like that was a huge deal for me to even say I like girls. So I'm not even worried about what's going on inside. I'm not even worried about that. So when that happened, I went into high school, and I think my first experience in high school with like my identity, which I didn't realize it was going to be as impactful as it was that my first high school teacher, her name was Miss Rotter. She was my English teacher. And it was our homeroom class, first day of high school. And she says, hey, what do you want to be called? And I was like, okay, so like my name. And she's like, no, like, what do you want to be called? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and she was like, okay, you're Alex. So my entire high school career, everyone knew me as Alex. No one ever knew my actual name until like senior year when I got into my feminine stage. And I was like, oh, I'm Melissa. Or they would say it at an announcement and they were like, who's that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. That's me. Sorry, guys. Because everyone knew me as Alex. And I remember picking the name, and my mom will swear to you that I picked the name because of a boy that I liked in middle school. And when I think about it, I'm like, I think I might have wanted to be that boy. But I'll let us rock with the fact that I like that boy. But even recently, I found my first assignment in that teacher's class, and the assignment was to talk about your name. And I wrote this long, it's not long, it's like 1-page paper about my name and how my name didn't feel like music to my ears, and how like I feel like your name should be. I feel like your name should bring you some type of joy and sense of like self, and it doesn't. But I guess that this is what I have to be called. But I'm not that. I'm I'm more than that. I'm a communicator. I want people to lean on me. I am, a listener, a daughter, a sibling. And I care more about uplifting the people around me than anything else. And I read that recently and I was like, God, that's a lot for a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing there, but it
Mm.
was like so moving. I was like, man, I think that I always knew. I think it was always there for me.
Yeah. I ran across that video when I was looking at your social media, and you brought up the point like of the topic of like people say these kids don't know, or they don't know when they're feeling this change. What age, if you said that like now that you're older, like maybe this was you at 14. Can you remember the time that you're like, okay, your first memories of like I am different, like this is I maybe want to transition, or I wanted to be Al, or do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. It's funny because it didn't happen until my 20s. I think that I was so in the mix of like figuring out. I always hated myself. Like I was never actually okay with myself growing up. I had a lot of like internalized like I think transphobia for me, because I just like, to me, it just was like, I have to be okay with what I got. You know, that was what everyone told me. Everyone said, like, you got to be okay with what you got. You know, I didn't like my teeth. It was, you got to be okay what you got. You know, it was very much like, be happy with what you have. And you'll hear that a lot from especially religious people of like, God made you the way that you were supposed to be. And this is how it's supposed to be. You shouldn't change that. And in my 20s, I met my best friend Kai, and Kai, um, and my job is very inclusive. But like Kai took time to talk about like non-binary, LGBT, so on and so forth. And to be frank, like it wasn't until my 20s that I even heard the terms. Like it wasn't even
Mm.
like I didn't know that my cousin was trans until I met Kai and talked about being trans. Like I didn't know that that was a thing, because when you live in Philly, and especially like we have 4 generations of Philly that has lived and died here. Like you don't leave Philly when you're in Philly, and you have to really look for those queer things. And when you're like, I wouldn't say sheltered, but like I wasn't super like in those queer spaces. My parents were obviously not super cool with the trans community, but cool with the gay community. So it's like, that's different. A lot of gay people are very transphobic. So like, they'll be like, yeah, I'm cool with you being a lesbian. It doesn't matter if you kiss another girl, but it does matter if a boy kisses another boy. Like that is like, there's always some caveat to it. And when I met my friend Kai like taught me a whole lot. And I was like, oh, like, okay, like you don't have to just be okay with what you got. Like you don't have to just live in that. And it was like you could do something differently. And to be honest, like when I started like talking to Kai about taking testosterone and things like that, I started soft launching with like pronouns and like test driving that. But then when I started thinking about taking testosterone and stuff, I actually like had no clear picture in my mind of what it would look like. Partly because I have aphantasia, which is like not being able to like picture something in your mind. So like if you say like picture a red apple, most people can probably see a red apple in their mind.
Yeah.
I don't see anything. It's a black screen. I know what a red apple looks like because I go off of
Yeah.
memory, but I don't actually see it in my head. So it was really hard for me because it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to look like. I don't know what that is for me, but I know that I'm not happy where I am. And I know that, like, to be frank, I probably wouldn't have made it past my 20s if I continued the way that I was going. So it's like, I have to try something else. I have to do something differently. And this was the only thing that felt like this is starting to make a little sense to me. Pronouns. Now I don't have to fit in a certain gender box. Now I don't have to do, even as a lesbian or even as a lesbian stud, you have the gender norm of you have to be the man in the relationship, X, Y, and Z. And it's like literally would date people, and depending on the type of person I was dating, I would literally shift my personality. Like if I was dating someone that was masculine, I was hyper feminine. If I was dating something that was someone that was feminine, I was hyper masculine. Like there was no middle ground. There was no figuring out an in between for myself. And it was really confusing because it was like, well, why can I do both? And I used to go around, oh, I'm that girl that could do both, you do all
Yeah.
that. But then it's like, well, what, something about it I'm still not liking. Something still is missing. And so I started with little things. I started with, changing my name. And then I was like, that feels good to me. And then I started with my pronouns and I'm like, that feels good. And then I always hated my chest. My parents, I've literally ever since I was a kid, you would never catch me in a bra. My dad would always try to get me to wear a bra. I hated my chest. I used to ace bandage and stuff like that all the time. And I thought that that was just like something girls did if they didn't like their boobs. That's not really a thing that girls typically would do. And like to look at your flat chest and be like, oh, wow, yeah, this is actually nice. Like girls didn't really do that. So it was like, okay, that's interesting. And I started to unpack that stuff as I started transitioning because it was like, okay, well, why do I feel like I'm trans now? Like I didn't do this my whole life. But then I sat back and I really thought about the things that I did when I was younger. And I'm like, wait, like I actually did a lot of things that
Yeah.
pointed to the fact that I was trans. I just didn't do it because I was worried about everybody else. I was worried that people would be upset with me or we would get in arguments or fights or people wouldn't love me. I think that that was huge for me. Like when I first started transitioning, that was the first time that like I would date a girl and it was like, I actually don't want to date you because I'm a lesbian. And that was like the first time it was like, oh, like now I'm losing a demographic of people that I'm basically narrowing my dating pool.
Yeah.
And like now people aren't going to want to be with me. And all people ever talk about is being in a relationship and being in love. And so I'm never going to have that because like I'm literally ruining it for myself. And then it's like, wait, I could just be alone. Like I could just like not do that. Like how happy am I at the end of the day in my own, like I'm not marrying these people, but even if I did, like how happy am I to sit in a room by myself and say like, I feel good. I can look in the mirror and be like,
Right.
dang, look at you. Like how
Yeah.
can I do that? I can't do that. But when I'm next to somebody else, suddenly I'm like, what's up? And how can I expect anybody to love that? And that's where all of it was like, where I was losing myself. And so, and when I started doing things like surgery, X, Y, and Z, like I talked to my wife about it all. And my wife, like, I love that woman. When I met her, I was very intentional. Every person that I dated before my wife, I was also very intentional, but I was also intentional in the fact of if this is not working out, we don't have to be together. I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah.
And when I met my wife, that's where I went with it. Hey, these are my values. This is who I am. These are things that I might do in the future. Here are things that I might evolve in. These are things that I'm really, really big about when it comes to treating people, how we talk to each other, the way we communicate, the way we speak to each other. Are we cursing at each other? Are we doing like there are certain things I won't allow. I don't want that ever. And in the history of us being together, these are things that I'm not okay with. And my wife was just very much aligned, very much like, hey, yeah, I agree. We agree on everything. We're basically the same person, but also very different. She's into the things she's into. I'm into what I'm into. But I've never once felt like, dang, I couldn't like be myself. And I think that like a turning point for me was like I had really long curly hair and it was the first time in my life that my hair had looked this good, right? Because like growing up, my mom was Puerto Rican, but she has like wavy hair. My dad's black, but he doesn't know anything about hair. But like growing up, my hair was always in a bun. I had a rat's nest. I hated my hair. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair. I wasn't allowed to explore different options or opportunities. And so I cut my hair and then I grew my hair out and I had these beautiful curls. My curls were absolutely gorgeous. It was the first time I ever like had hair like that. And I thought people liked me for my hair. Like on my TikTok, I got a lot of traction because it was like, your hair is beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. That even when I met my wife, I was ready to cut my hair. And I was like, I'm scared that I'm going to shave my head bald and you are going to be like, ill, I don't want to be with you anymore. That is a fear of mine. But also, I don't think that I can keep going. I need to shave my head. I need to try it. I need to branch out into that level of masculinity because I can't keep going on thinking that without my hair, I'm going to look ugly or
Yeah.
without this, I'm going to look like that. And she was like, it's your hair. Do whatever you want. Like, I'm with you. You do whatever you want. And that really put into the perspective of me that one, if someone wants to be with you, they will. It's not a matter of you have to change this or add this or you can't do this or you can't do that. And then two, it's about how much you love yourself. Can I love myself enough that I cut my hair and I see myself with a bald head and I'm like, you still look good. You still feel good. Can I do that for myself? And I was able to, it just continued to evolve.
I love that. And mentioned this person, Kai, who was like the first representation that it seemed like was in your life, even
Yeah.
though you had a cousin growing up. And just like the lack of representation, even you said Philly, but like, would you say Philly is like you see now that you're a part of the community? Do you feel like it's there? You just didn't know it was there because you just didn't know, or do you just feel like it wasn't at all around like growing up? Like you,
Yeah, like I feel like for me, it definitely wasn't around growing up, but more so it wasn't around because I had to hide it. Like my cousin, like I didn't have my cousin not from lack of want. Like my cousin was basically exiled, like it was like that cousin never came to parties, never hung out, or if we did, it was almost like a look over your shoulder of like, oh, like this person's here kind of feel that it's like as a kid, you inherently are like, okay, I guess this is how everybody acts. So I'm not really going to pay attention to that person. And I met Kai and Kai's black trans. And it was like, man, you're so confident in yourself and you're so powerful. Made me reach out. My cousin actually reached out to me because I started posting and I reached back out to my cousin.
okay.
I'm like, yo, like, yeah, I actually do want to see you. So I went to New York and I spent the day with my cousin and I was like,
I love that.
I was like, this is why they didn't want you around me. They didn't want you near me because they knew that I would have known at 14 years old, had you been around and we had a conversation, we had one conversation, it would have been over. If my cousin would have sat me down the way they sat me down in New York and was like, be yourself, be true to yourself, X, Y, and Z. My cousin was like, yo, if you need to look into surgeons, if you need to look into this, like, I got you. I know what it's like for here. Like my cousin, and my cousin's in the community, like in New York. My cousin is like a part of it. It's really like dived into that. And I never knew that, but it was because no one wanted me to. That wasn't
Yeah.
like that wasn't okay. And when I got older and I got the ability to do so, I'm like, I'm grown. I moved 6 times. I got my own car. New York is hour and a half. I'll drive. I'm gonna drive to New York, go see my cousin. Saw my cousin, literally did nothing but affirm me even further. That I was like, yeah, that duh, like this makes sense. What was I
Love that.
doing? And that really turned the tables for me, that I was like, I gotta stop denying it for myself. And a large part of that was that whole, my cousin did lose a lot. My cousin did, have to go through a lot. And that was while I was a kid. So I don't understand it or I don't see it. And like, we lost so much family growing up that like, there's so much trauma outside of like my identity that I had to go through as a kid, whether it was, my dad or my parents in general or whatever they're going through. And then my family, losing family members, gang violence. Like there was just so many other things that took precedence that it didn't matter. Like myself didn't matter and figuring it out until I was on my own and realized like my trauma is not me. Like what I went through is not who I am as a person. I don't have to live in that. I don't have to breathe that. I don't have to feel that. I'm very much open. My parents always used to say, fight the power. Like I'm very much like, I was in protest. I was a part of things. But the hard part about that was just like, I didn't know. I didn't have the language. And then it took me now to get to this point. And now I'm putting myself in these spaces. And I'm very big on like this is the year of collaboration. I think last year was like putting myself out there on social media, gaining traction on social media, which was great. And I got to show a lot of my personality and meet a lot of people. But now I'm like, how do I continue to grow in that? How do I continue to build on that? And so I've been spending a lot of time just trying to put myself in queer spaces in general, even just meeting people, even
Yeah.
meeting other Black people, just being like, hey, like, I see you, we're here. Let me get your name, like something where it's like, I used to be so scared to talk to people. And I had a lot of like social
Same.
anxiety. Yeah, like you know what I mean. And like it's so funny because when people meet me, they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you have social anxiety. Like you're so like outgoing, X, Y, and Z." And it's like I'm really good at masking. I'm trying really hard to keep eye contact with you. Like this is a full time job. Like in my head, I'm saying, "Don't look away, don't look away,
Yeah.
don't
Oh
look
my
away." You know
gosh.
what I mean? Like I'm working twice as hard, but I also didn't know like mental health was not something that like my parents also took seriously growing up. And I think it's because of their history. Like I don't hold any animosity towards my parents. I got to a point where I think that my parents are just people. I think that like we put a lot of authority in parenting. I think that what we forget, at least I don't know if some people might not feel this way, but like they're people. Like my mom was 15. I think about where
Yeah.
I was when I was 15 years old, raising a kid. I got animals now that I'm like, that's a lot. I can't imagine raising a child. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
she didn't get to do the things that she wanted to do. She didn't have prom and high school and stuff like that. That it's like she lost on a lot of opportunities and her and my dad and to give us the life that we have. And I'm very appreciative of that. But at the same time, like they weren't great. Like they're great parents because they loved me, but they
Yeah.
weren't great role models or like people that you can lean on for conversations. They weren't great communicators. They still aren't. And it took me learning how to communicate and become the person that I want to be able to say, hey, that actually isn't okay. And let's actually
Yeah.
unpack that. Let's actually
Yeah.
talk about that. Like I have severe ADHD and that was something that was like, oh yeah, like it's fine, whatever, blah, blah. And it's like, no, actually these things impact you. They impact how you learn, how you incorporate your life, where it's like, had I gotten the mental care that I did when I was younger, I probably could be in a better space. But also my parents didn't have the capacity to give that because for them, the way they were raised was this is fake. That's not real. This isn't that. So it's like all of it is just generationally passed down that it's like it takes someone to stop it.
That part.
That someone just happened to be me. And like, I don't know, it's a reward in a way. Like it's like a blessing and a curse. It sucked that I had to do it, but at the same time, it's great that like I got the opportunity to do it, and that they listen now, and that people are so willing to like lean on me now. Like I'm very much like the confidant of my family, or just the person that people like go to say like, hey, I want to tell you this really big secret or this really big situation. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I love to say I'm the teapot. I don't tell other people secrets because I just want to
Yeah.
hold them and you can give me all the tea. But if I start distributing the tea, you're not going to trust me.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it a teapot.
Yeah, I'm similar in that way. Like people will random people just come up and tell me their life stories. Like I'll be out, like my fiance, I can say fiance now because I'm engaged.
Hey.
Is she'll just be like, you just random people just I was like, I don't know, I don't offer it. Like they just come up to me and they'll just tell me like vulnerable things. And I'm just like, I listen to them when if they want advice or something, I'm like, okay, I'll give them a little pointers or whatnot. But just like, I think like in social situations, I don't like to talk about myself a lot. Like that's not something that I just like naturally do. So a lot of people like to talk. Like people just love to talk, especially if you're out, they have a little drinks in them. They just want someone to just like
Mm-hmm.
spill it all too. So I've really been that person. But back to when you were like just how your parents are just like the generations that they've gone through and like they haven't cut the generational curse. Like I feel like my parents were the same way of just like this is how it's done, this is how it's raised, and like this is how you're gonna be. But how you said they're people because it does take a lot to raise a child. That is why I do not want a child because I know all of what goes into it. Like, I don't just think, oh, I want to bring this person in the world to just do fun things with and just like, there's so much that goes into it. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm like, okay, I don't want that responsibility of having to literally, and you can't tell a parent anything. Like, if you know, like, okay, you probably should, are you the parent? Do you want a parent? Like, okay. So I stopped. Like, I'll say little stuff sometimes because, like, I hate when parents do like gender role stuff. Like, oh, this is the
Mm-hmm.
boy toy. So, like, I'll say my little snarky comment to the kid
Mm-hmm.
just so they know, like, you don't have to choose this because you're a boy or a girl. Like, that's
Yeah.
not how it has to be. So I'm like quick with that. Like, that's one thing I will do. But like, going to therapy, getting the healing, these like my mom, she does go to therapy now, but like that's not, my grandma's never been to therapy. It's not something that they've ever done. So I think it's like they've never done the healing to even want to break the generational curses of to fix and heal, and setting boundaries for them is a whole new thing. Is a whole new thing. Like you've been talking about like the boundaries you've set firm. I've been working on that. And so like I like tended to do that for my family of just like catering to them and like making sure like I don't hurt their feelings and neglecting my own. And you're doing that at much more of a younger age of where you figured out like, okay, I'm doing this for me. This is for me. It took me in my 30s to be like, okay, I'm finally grown. Like I'm an adult now. Like I didn't do that in
Yeah.
my 20s, even though I wasn't reliant upon them. Like I was out the house. I was paying my own bills. Just something in me was like, just respect my elders. This is who I need to respect. They've done so much for me, but now it's like, I can finally say too, like, okay, getting to the point to where the boundaries are set. No means no. And yeah, and they've respected that. So it is
Yeah.
good when you come to that point and you put those boundaries down because.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said
The
like,
respecting your elders is that's such an old line. That's like, no.
yeah, yeah, but it's like I still do, and I think like my grandma will still throws it in there. Oh, I'm just waiting to come to church. Grandma ain't coming to that church. Like I keep telling her that, but yeah, I gotta stick firm to my boundaries like you stuck firm to yours. Like I think that's awesome of your story of just like you are such like a kind-hearted person. For you to be like, okay, this is who I am, and like I don't know like what they said to you, but your feelings were obviously probably hurt having to leave family members behind and go through that healing by yourself, but ultimately like losing them like created your identity and like who you are today. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think a large part of it for me is like I think it's because some people say that I'm far too forgiving. And I don't think that's a thing. I think that like it depends. Like I think that like forgiveness is is very important. And I think that as long as it's not trumping your boundaries, right? So like, for instance, for instance, the respect your elders thing. I think that like I'll respect my elders if they respect me too. Like I think that we're all people. I think just because you were here a little bit longer than I am doesn't make you any more right than I am. You know, we did a lot of things that were wrong real back in the day that wasn't okay, but you wouldn't respect those elders. You know what I mean? There's a level to
Yeah.
it. So it's
Yeah.
like there's no, and also like I think that there's a level of like I think one of the arguments or like one of the turning points for me and my family was like my dad was like I think I can't even remember word for word, but I remember the conversation was very heated, and it was very much like a conversation of like you brought, like it was like you owe me respect. I brought you here, and a large part of that was like I didn't ask to be here. I actually would prefer not to. That's a preference I would have. I wouldn't have chose that. And I remember my dad being like, "What? Like you're saying that you would rather like not be here?" Yeah, yeah. If I had to choose, if I wanted to be put in the world that was like that, if you gave me that option prior to showing up and told me that this is the way that my life would go up until that age, which was like 20 years old of nothing but like fighting, arguing, never having the things that I wanted to have, not loving myself, so on and so forth, I would 100% have chose the opposite direction. Like why I didn't have that choice though. So now that I'm here, it's a matter of me making the best of that option, right? Like I don't have a choice. I can't go back. You did that. Now we're here. I don't owe you anything for giving me this. This wasn't a privilege that you handed down to me and said, here's all this generational wealth. Like you gave me life, and yeah, you kept me alive, but also as a parent, I believe that that is the bare minimum of what you should be doing. I think that if you bring something into this world, your bare minimum job is to keep it alive. That is, I got my dog when she was 11 weeks old and she's still here. You know what I mean? Like that's the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But everything else,
Yes.
like communication and love and care, like all of that stuff is stuff that is built upon and grown on. And you have to actively choose to do that. If you actively choose to destroy your relationships, those are things that's going to impact you. Now, at the same time, with that being said, if you actively choose the opposite direction, I think that everyone can change. I think that there is a level of redemption, right? So like if my dad decided, hey, all right, we're never going to be cool again, that's fine. But if my dad came to me, and which he has, and same for every single close family member, like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, every last one of them, we've had our moments where I said, that's not okay. And until you apologize and you say you'll never do it again, and you actually never do it again, we have nothing to talk about. We have nothing to build on. And I just stuck to that. It was like, all right, then this is what it is. And, you know, everyone's in your ear. I think that's the hard part, is not listening to the bugs, but everyone in your ear of, hey, you should be doing this. Hey, you should fix your relationship with your dad, fix your relationship with your sister, your brother, your mom. No, they should fix their relationship with me if I'm so important. And if I'm not that important, that's also okay. I'm okay to not be the most important person in the room. That's not why I was here, right? I think that like we talk a lot about like, you know, the way God made you. God made me into a trans non-binary individual. I think that I genuinely believe that like if there is a God, and I don't necessarily believe in religion, but I would like to think that he is not as so cruel to make someone, to give them this level of happiness in their identity, to feel so comfortable and affirmed, to hate, like, you know,
Yeah.
like to not be okay with that. I can't imagine that would be something that would be a hat that he would wear. And I think that also it was planned. I think that it was meant for me to be here, to be representation for the community, to have people look up to me and say, hey, what you did, what you said, it really meant a lot. That really changed something for me. Like, if I didn't do that, who's to say when that person would have found that thing? Like, I remember trying to decide how I was going to have my surgery, and I was really self-conscious about not keeping my nipples. And that was like a really big thing for me. I was like, oh my God, people are going to look at me. It's going to be weird, but I really don't want them. I really don't want them to be misaligned. I really don't want to reattach them and they fall off. God forbid. Like that would be horrible. And it was really hard to find people that looked like me that had the same surgery as I did. And that's really where I was like, well, one, I can't worry about anybody else. If no one else likes it, that's not my problem. This is my body. I need to be happy with myself. But then two, now I have the opportunity to be that representation for someone else. Now, instead of just being in the corner and being like, all right, I got my surgery, great. Now I could be like, hey, I actually got my surgery. This feels really great. And I can share it with the rest of the world. And so many people have seen that video. So many people have so many things to say. So many people have so many bad things to say. But I think that like anyone with negativity, anyone that bullies someone else, anyone that has so much pain in them, I think that's why they do it. And I always think that like someone that says a nasty comment, and then you said earlier, like, how do I get past it? Outside of like not caring, I think that I just wear this lens of I'm a mirror to anyone else, right? So like people can see me and they see positivity, they see love, they see joy, they see happiness, they see me like putting myself out there for the world, and they see themselves. And it could be vice versa. Some people see me and it makes them really angry. It makes them upset. They get torn down and they don't like that. That's not a representation of me though. I'm just the
Right.
mirror. And that really just puts people into perspective where like when they say these awful comments and they say these awful things to me, it's because they aren't happy with the world that they're currently in. They have that lens on and it's really hard for them to take off. I don't, and that's
Yeah.
okay because and when I mirror someone else, and everyone I look at, everyone around me, they're a mirror. The people that your community that you have around you, that all is like reflection of you. And I don't surround myself with bad people. I don't say bad things to other people because I think that that's not great. Someone says something bad to me first, all right, that's different. But like I would never just like outwardly walk up to someone or to comment in someone's section and say something hateful or mean or spiteful
Yeah.
about their appearance, their looks, their feel, especially if they're happy. Like I just would never do that because I know that that's not me and it's not a reflection of me. But on the other hand, other people will. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that is a matter of reflection.
People are really hateful, and you're right. Like they're not. There's something going on like deeper with them. It has nothing to do with us or
Mm-hmm.
you. Like it is. It's literally, and I don't get it. Like at the end, I'm always like, family, friends, strangers, love and be nice. Like that's my motto. Like it's not hard to love someone of just
Nah.
like, hey, you have nothing to do with them, like, but you rather like hate on them for no reason. Like, what is your reason? Like,
Yeah,
how does it affect you?
exactly.
What affects you is all these billionaires not paying taxes, us paying social security, Medicare, Medicaid,
Mm-hmm.
capers, all of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and barely seeing a dime back. Like, this is what you should be worried about, how you live and like what is going on in the world, and focus on that than like what doesn't affect you. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
do not understand that. Like, I don't get it. And yeah, it's really frustrating sometimes too, because it's just like we're just out here trying to live our lives just and get representation. It bugs the fuck out of me when people are like, you're pushing that too much in our face, or like, we don't got to see that everywhere, da 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 da
Yeah,
da.
yeah.
Your story is a testimony of we could have no representation at all. We can see nothing about ourselves or identity and still know, like, figure out who we are later on in life. Like, it doesn't matter if your kids are seeing this queer stuff
Mm-hmm.
all the time. It's not going to make them queer. Like, it's so ridiculous. And like, representation matters. It's healing. Like in your testimony, like it healed you. You found yourself. Like, it is so important, so important. And like for me, like even seeing like specifically black queer people, like it's not just seeing queer people too, like it even goes to layers to see like the actual full representation of someone. Because when you don't, it's just like you go into rooms, you don't feel like you belong. Yeah, I know you mentioned like you have to have this confidence, but it's kind of hard to have confidence when you don't see anyone else that looks like you. Everything you hear is negative about you, and like
Yes.
you even have these internal things that you're talking bad about yourself because you hear it constantly. Like growing up, it's just so hard when you do not get the representation that you need and the
Yeah.
validation from other people and others around you. So
Yeah, that's so true. Cause like, especially with growing up, like I hated my hair growing up, but a lot of it was because of things that were said about Black girls and hair and it being hard and hard to maintain and complicated to have and so on and so forth. Like it was so much, like so much like Black people and their hair, and it's hard to tame, it's hard to manage. And so I hated my hair growing up, and I hated a lot of little things about myself because there was so much to be said and so much like hatred on myself that people would other people would say. So it was a lot of like internal projection. And like what you said, like that representation was not there. Like that representation for me growing up, like I remember trying to find queer literature was so hard. I used to scramble to find as much queer literature as I possibly can. Then I stumbled upon Giovanni's Room, Philly AIDS in South Philly. It's a queer bookstore. That's what all of these books, not a single one of them is straight. Not a single one of them features a man.
The-
And that's like having something like that was just like so impactful. And that's why I was like, I want to be a writer. I want to produce these things. I want to be an actor. I want to be like, I don't want to be like an actor on TV that's just this guy on TV. No, I want people to know this is a trans non-binary actor. This isn't this like I want to be in trans non-binary films. I want to be playing as a trans non-binary character. Like I don't want to
yes.
be like something, and not to say that there won't ever be a day that like I might act as whatever doing what, but like I know that I want to be in queer media. I want to be starring in queer media, writing queer media, producing queer media, and I want there to be so much more because there is so much talk around like seeing this on my TVs and the way we are force fed straight people heterosexual content our entire lives down to the colors and the clothes that we wear, that I think that it's okay if we have a little bit of gay TV. Like
And
it's
I think it's okay if we have a lot of it of gay TV. Like it
you know what
is
I mean?
okay.
It is okay. And I even spent time like looking at them like queer people do not get not even half, not even a quarter, like not even like 10% of the representation inside of all of the movies and films that exist in the world. And we are still to this day fighting to get that space. And I think we deserve it. I think that we fought hard enough. But something that I like about especially Layers and the things that I would like to produce in the future is like, it doesn't always have to be so tragic and centered on the queer journey. Like it doesn't have to be like, because a lot of the queer media you get now is being queer is hard. That's what you get. You don't get a psychological thriller involving a queer person. You don't get this crazy thing involving a queer person. You get, oh, well, this story is about a queer person. It's because they're queer that this story exists. And it isn't just like this person is this and they happen to be queer. And
Yeah.
that's where the wheelhouse has to start turning.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, yeah, this person happens to be gay, but this is
Yeah.
about this. Like, this is
Yeah.
about this particular situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lena Waithe does a really good job at that, I think.
Yeah.
Every one of her productions that she's done, I just feel like it just comes natural. Just there's always going to be a queer couple in anything she does. I don't know. Do you watch The Shy? Do you watch The Shy?
No, but please
No.
put me on.
Watch The Shy.
My
It's
wife
such
got
a
me watching Baddies right now. She
oh,
won't. I showed her one episode. I showed her one episode of Baddies, and she got me watching the old season of Baddies and the new one. She's obsessed with it. And
no.
if you meet my wife is this petite little Puerto Rican that she don't know nothing about it, but she be like, "Oh, my mama."
That's funny. That's funny. I never got into that show, but no, Lena Waithe, I just like enjoy her, like, and like she's giving just like a lot of representation. So definitely check out some of the stuff that she
I have to look
produces
that up.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
no,
auditioning. I'm throwing myself in the pot.
hey, do it, do it. You know, I think I think small in that. And I should dream bigger when it comes to that, just because I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and I need to get out of here a lot more than what I do. Like I've been putting myself out there more of just like going to different states and whatnot, and like actually intentionally going to the queer community spot. So, but like I didn't experience any other prides besides Wichita, and it's not. Wichita Pride is good for Wichita Pride, but
Mm-hmm.
other places is where I need to be.
No, for sure, for sure.
And get that experience. It's I don't know what it's like in Philly when it comes to queer people of color. Do you have like a lot of those spaces there, or what does that look
Yeah, I
like?
mean, well, so even me just putting myself out there lately, I have been going to these events. It's called Lavender Hotlines, and they are queer and BIPOC focused events. And I've been to two so far. And then I went to one Angels event, which is separate from the Lavender Hotlines, I'm pretty sure. And that was like a pop up queer strip club, all of it BIPOC. That is probably the most Black people, Black queer people I've ever been around in my entire life. And I have never been happier. I don't miss an event now. I go to every event. I went to the
Yeah.
first one and I was so scared. Walked in, people playing Uno, hooked, jumped in. Let's play some friggin' Uno. Let's go. So we started playing Uno. And that was the first time in my life that I ever mingled and walked around and was like, hey, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And I was really scared to do that. I met so many amazing people that night that the next time I went to the event, I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I know what's happening here. And I
Yeah.
also am really big about remembering people's names. I think that that's really important. I think that your name is just like, it's just super important. It shows like a level of impactfulness and like care. And so like, I try to remember every person's name that I meet. If I ask them, hey, like if we're vibing, I'm like, oh, what's your name? And I meet them. I try to remember that. Like even the people that like checked us in, like leaving, I'm like, hey, like, you know, Antoinette, thank you so much, like X, Y, and Z. And that builds so much. Like now when I go, they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. I'm like, oh, I'm happy to see you
Yeah.
too. What's up? So it's a really cool. I think if you do come to Philly, definitely got to get you at a Lavender Highlights event. It is so many people. It was so incredible last time. And it was like a 2000s, like it was a Y2K party. And
Oh
that
my.
one was different because they did like a dress up like competition. So I was scared, but I was like, I gotta do it. I'm gonna put myself in
Yeah.
there. I'm trying to do everything that I can to put myself out there as much as humanly possible. My goal is by 30 that I'm on a red carpet somewhere. It's like what I
Ooh.
keep telling myself. By 30, I'm on a red carpet. I changed my Instagram bio away from like, oh, some cutesy little caption to like, no, I am a writer. I am an actor. I am a model. I am a content creator. No more of like, I want to be, no more of like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be. I think that I met this one lady who was like, never take trying out of your vocabulary. You're not trying to do anything. You're doing it. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. There's one
Yeah.
or the other. You're not trying to do anything. And so I take that really seriously and I'm trying to take it. I am taking it seriously now because I think that it has changed a lot for me. That when I say, hey, I am an actor, I am a model, the moment that I get in front of the camera, that's just inevitable because I
Mm-hmm.
said that this is what I am, this is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Same thing for being a writer. Like I sent my book to my editor, got it back, I'm working on it again, and I will publish this book. But like even in the process of publishing it, I'm also like, I am a writer. Like I'm currently writing it, so I am a writer. So
Yes.
it really is helpful.
It does matter the language that you have. Just like just something simple of just like, oh, how are you doing? Just fine. Okay. Like even just saying just fine. Like you just like get a little sad just saying it, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
you're
fine.
I'm great. How are you doing? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you build
Mm-hmm.
that confidence and like you do have to just like remind yourself who the fuck you are. Like this is who I am. And it's important to do so because when you do, like you train your mind to say that, like you talk about like a lot of confidence in your videos and just like having that confidence is a skill you say and it really is like I feel like throughout this podcast of just you just like being confident with who you are of just like letting these people go and if they come back they come back being confident in who you are of just like being vulnerable and sharing your story and being okay with the whatever you receive like you are so confident within yourself that it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
I really love that, and it is the language that you hold with yourself. It does hold. Like if you just talk really down and bad about yourself, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that. So
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
uplift
Yeah.
yourself
You
any
got to
way you
be
can.
really yeah, you gotta be really intentional, especially with how you treat yourself. Your brain doesn't know between real and fake. Your brain just goes with whatever. So if you're always bad about yourself, your brain's gonna feel bad because it doesn't know the difference. You're supposed to tell your brain what the difference is. But you shouldn't even say these bad things about yourself. You shouldn't think them. You should just be like, hey, no, I am this. I know I'm a good person. I know that I have so much love to give. I know that I can do these things. And like something that my biology teacher used to say all the time, every science class we would go in, and she would say, we had a motto. We all had to say it as a class. It was so, I used to think it was so cringy, but now I say it. And that's actually, I think what got me so far in my TikTok too, is because like I ended every live with like my own little slogan. And it's a great day to have a great day. And today I'm going to go out there and be the best version of me. And that's like so true. Like it's a
Yeah.
great day to have there's no reason not to. There might be a bad moment or something like that, but like today's a great day to have a great day. And I'm going to go out there and be the best version of myself. And then I added more to it in the sense of I'm going to give 100% of what I got. And if for the day that I'm at 2% because I woke up, I'm feeling groggy, I'm feeling tired, then I'm going to give 100% of that 2%. You know, I'm never going to shortchange myself. You're never going to be at 100, but you can always give 100% of whatever you have. And that was like super big for me. So I always ended every single live with, it's a great day to have a great day. Today, I'm going to go out there, be the best version of me, give 100% of what you got. Even if it's only 20%, give 100% of that 20. That's it. That's all I ever ask. And you see how those little things start to change. And that's why I don't think that I never have a bad day. I haven't had a bad day in years, because if something bad happens during the day, I'm like, dang, that sucks.
I just have to affect your whole day.
So yeah, like,
Yeah.
so what? If
Yeah.
bad things are gonna happen, that's not great, but we're still good. Like, I'm still good. You know, it could be good. Why not? And we can
Yeah.
choose to be good. All right, yeah, that frustrated me, but like, come on, we can be
Yeah.
good. And then it's like, man, how much better does it feel to decide to feel good? You know what I mean? How much better does that feel? Versus like, oh, I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to be mad for hours. It feels so much better to not be
Yeah.
mad.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I I had a road rage moment the other day, and it wasn't me. I didn't have the road rage. There's someone had the other road rage on me, and they were
Yeah.
so mad that they flipped me off. They flipped me off, and like they flipped me off because like there was a construction coming. So the construction was coming. So I got over. This person was like literally 20 feet behind, and I tried to get over, and they sped up. Don't try to bully me, because I'm going to get over. You're not going to hurt that precious cargo. I got over. They start honking, flipping me off. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then like after the construction's over, they fly by me again, flip me off again. And I'm just like laughing, like, dude, it's not even that serious. Like, you literally,
it's not that serious.
all this traffic is all the way backed up. Like, everyone needs to get over. Like, chill out. Like, he was so pissed off, and I'm just like, bro, it doesn't have to be that serious. And I think a lot of people take those little things and like get so upset. Like, he was visibly just like face beat red. Like, bro, you're leveling your blood pressure for no reason.
Yeah, your cortisol levels are so high. Cortisol kills, bro. You gotta chill. You gotta vibe out.
Yes, for sure. I didn't want to go past this podcast without like talking about your identity with being like a trans non-binary though.
Yeah.
So like before, like I know we're getting a little over an hour, but I just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, please.
You identify as trans non-binary, like you did say previously, like you will answer to him, but like they, them are what you prefer, like your pronouns.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, just like on your social media, you only do top surgery. Like you don't have any intentions of doing like your bottom surgery or whatnot. What got you to like that point? Like, okay, I know I want to do this. Like, I know we talked about earlier, like you didn't never like your chest or whatnot, but you took testosterone as well. Like, what got you to be comfortable, and like, how did you figure out like this is the path that you wanted to take?
Yeah, I think that a really big thing for me was like figuring out what I didn't like and what was making me so unhappy, right? And I think that like I really didn't like my chest. That was like the main thing. That was like, man, I look at myself in the mirror and I do not like that. I am always in a sports bra. I hated wearing a sports bra. I hated not wearing certain clothes and wearing certain outfits. I sometimes can be very into fashion and what I'm wearing. I love thrifting, and it just didn't feel right to me. And so I just felt like I just didn't like that. And I also felt like I know that I take testosterone and like I get the facial hair and things like that. And, you know, the first thought that people see was a man. And I got to the point where the world is going to perceive you in whatever way. There's some people that still see me and says she. That's okay. Cause like at the end of the day, it's not about how the world like it was a matter for me how the world perceived me, which felt better, right? I didn't like the world perceiving me as a girl. A large reason as to why I didn't like the world perceiving me as a girl is I didn't like the way guys treated me. I didn't like the way guys talked about me. I didn't like the way they looked at me. I didn't like the way other girls looked at me. I didn't like being in the girl, like I didn't feel comfortable in the girl like rooms and like stuff like that. Like that just didn't feel good for me. None of that felt good. So I never felt like I belonged in either space. And then it was like, how do I do what's best for me and feel good, but also still be aligned with my femininity, be aligned with my masculinity, and also take away gender completely, right? Because like there's so much that goes on to like genitalia that like frankly it's really weird when people think about it. Like I think it's really strange that we care so much about it for another person.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, and also it's like, why am I caring about it so much for myself? You know, like, why is that like granted, my chest, I know why I don't like my chest. I know that it didn't feel good. I didn't like it. I didn't like having the extra, it was just fat. That's all it was. I didn't like having that extra bit of fat. So I just wanted it gone. I'd prefer muscle. I prefer that aesthetic, and that aesthetic felt better for me. But then on top of that, like a large reason as to why I won't get any other surgeries is because one, they could be a bit more invasive. They could cause a little bit more harm than good for me personally. Not saying that that's how it is for all other trans people, but I just don't feel like it's worth it because it's not something that anyone's going to visibly see. You know what I mean? Like the only person that's going to see me completely is my wife. So it's like, it doesn't matter if someone sees me and they wonder. I think it's weird you're wondering, but it doesn't really matter which direction you think I go in. Now, when I take off my shirt, you know what direction I'm in. And that is like also a you thing. Like, why are you thinking about any of it? And for me personally, it was more so reconciling with how I felt on the inside about myself and taking masculinity and femininity out of sex. Like like biological sex. Like masculinity is strength, is like resilience, independence. Like that's masculinity. Femininity is soft divinity. Like that is like, and I have both of those things. So there are women who are masculine. They're strong, independent women. There are men who are soft and feminine. And like, that's also a thing. Like they don't equate to biological sex. That's just something that you inherently, you feel. And I felt like I was living my whole life. Like I said, like I would jump between the two depending on who I was dating, because I felt my whole life that I had both. I could do either or. It depended on my mood.
Yeah.
And depending on my mood, I do that now. Like some days I'm like, all right, I look like, I'm a boy's boy. And some guys will talk to me like I'm a guy's guy. They're like, oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's do it, Jim, bro. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, fine. And then there's sometimes where like I'm very feminine in that sense. And I'm like, man, but I still like, there's a level of femininity I don't think that I could personally ever get to. Maybe one day I will. Like I want to. Like sometimes I see like the non-binary femmes that like have like the makeup and all that stuff. And it's just like, I'm like, dang, I want that. Like, ooh, I kind of want that. Way too much work. I don't have it in me. But I want it.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have to do it, like if somebody was like, "Yo, you could go in a movie, we're gonna beat your face," I'll sit there. And, yeah, I'll be a girl's girl for that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But me doing it personally, it's just too hard. I don't want to I don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
But I still feel it. Like I feel very good in either direction, and I think that was what I had to figure out for me. It's like the non-binary aspect of it was I don't fit in either box. And that's okay. I don't think that there was a box meant for me to fit in. I think that was on purpose. I think that like I was meant to just be me and explore everything and see what happens. I think it's the same thing with like people that you're dating and people that you're with. Like it was a matter of like exploration of just being able to, if my parents would have put me into this world and never said anything about gender, sex, anything like that, I think that I would have ultimately been the exact way that I am from the moment that I was born. But it's because society puts so much on top of that and they just bury it on, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they put so many stereotypes surrounding that it makes it so difficult to really pull yourself out of that. And it takes you having to do a lot of personal growth and work that you got to be like, wait, why do I feel that way? Like there was times where I would wear feminine clothes. Like I could put on a dress right now and sometimes I feel dysphoric. Like sometimes I'm like, I put this dress on, I'm like, dang, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like that, but do I not like it because it's not for me? Or do I not like it because it's giving feminine and I don't want to be perceived as a girl? And then I
Yeah.
have to unpack why and then go from there.
Yeah. I like what you said of just like figuring out what things you did not like. Like, I think that's important of just like, and naturally going through your own journey and not letting the outside voices dictate how you perceive yourself. I think you're doing it the way that you should be doing it. Like, and it's your journey. I think it's hard too, is just like when you see people of just like either there's a lot of talk of like the transgender men community and women community, but like the non-binary community, there's not a lot of talks on it of just like it's either one or the other, and it's just kind of like okay. And a lot of people don't respect they them pronouns. Like there's some people that don't understand they use it all the time, but just without realizing it's like okay, I'm glad your family have like all like accepted you and they're able to get to the point of just like respecting that too. It's important to like have those at least like around you that can uplift you and you respect those values. How do you find friendships, new friendships with, you talk about cis men a lot, so like I don't feel like you vibe well with them, and then like with maybe feminine women, not being like the girls girl or whatever. How do you find friendships? I know like being like a masculine person that I am, like it's hard for me too, just like because men, they just want to see me as a bro, but I'm not a bro. I really am. I'm a cis. Like that's me, but like I'm kind of like too masculine for like the feminine friends and just like whatnot. So it's been hard for me to like find that balance too, but I'm curious for you, like how do you find those relationships?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like, and I don't know if it comes with age, um, but I feel like the older I get or the more time that I spend with people in my community, the less tolerable I am to anything that doesn't fit well. So it's like if I'm gonna be cool with a cis dude, you gotta be, and my standards are so high. Like it's just like do you reach this level? Like I'll give you a good for instance. There's this guy, I work with him. I would consider him a friend. He's really cool. His name's Sam. And he's a cis white guy, right? So that's like, all right, you're a cis white dude. You got pretty high standards. He's a little gay. He's a little gay. He's a little bit like he says some things that's like, all right. And he's very much like people will bro out with him and he'll say really gay things to his bros. Like people will bro out with him and he'll be like, you want to kiss, bro? I like that. I like that. All right. I like you, and that's like my standard. You know what I mean? Like if it's like a guy that's like, yeah, girls, bro. I'm like, I can't take you seriously. Yeah. I can't take you seriously at all. So it really just depends. My standards are really high. When it comes to cis women, I think the same. I think I'm a little bit more tolerable of cis women than I am cis men. But I also think because I hold men to a higher standard in general, but also like cis women don't do as much. Like they don't say as much. Like cis men, especially when they think that you're a part of the bros. Like cis men will really say anything. Now that I have facial hair, it's really like all bets are off. Things that you would have never said to me if I presented as a woman, you would never say this in the same room as me. But you say it now because I look like a guy. That's strange. So that's where my standards are high. Whereas I feel like if anything, women say less around me because they think I'm a man. And then when they find out that I'm like a part of the crew, they're like, oh, all right, actually, no, yeah, we can talk a little bit more. So it's like, all right, cool. I realize why I understand why your hackles are up. That's okay. Men hackles are never up around other men. And that's strange. And I think that like it's hard making newer friends. Like I think a lot of my friends that I have are pre-transition or even if it's after transition. I think that I'm just a very sociable, like, oh my God, like love you type of person. And I can be very much like open arms with it, but you gotta be like fight the power. You gotta be like, how down are you for our rights? Are you voting? Where are we standing with this? Like, I need to know where you stand. Because if you don't stand with us, you don't stand with me. You know what I mean? Like if you have something negative to say about, trans women, like there's just little things that like are not tolerable to me.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friendships, and I think it's because when I put myself out there in this way, a lot of my friendships are queer. Majority of my friendships are queer. Like, I think that I only am friends with, like, I think those two people that are cis outside of like family. Like, my brother's probably my bestie. But like, other than that, like, every friend and my friend group grows. Like, I've meet so many people, but that group is like, okay, you're gay, you're queer. Okay, all right. Like, it's very much like continuously building on the queer community. And the more time I spend around people that are like-minded and also look like me, the less tolerable I am spending time in places with people that don't. So I just like tend to avoid those spaces. And I'm happy to like give my love, like peace and love. I'm here. But also at the same time, like, is it the place that I feel that I'm seen the most or the most, thrilled? Not particularly. And that's okay. I think that
Yeah.
like everyone has, spaces that make sense for them. And I think that like I used to feel really like I would feel so good being at like a super white queer party in my 20s. I would have been like, yeah, this is like really dope. I love this. But then as I get older, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to, be around people that kind of look like me. We got similar experiences. We can talk about similar things. Like, some people just don't grow up with the same like history. Like, I'll talk about things that I go down in my history and it's like, whoa, that's crazy. This is what happened in mine. And I'm like, that's all right. All right. That's something. That's something. Um, and valid. I still love you. I love you as a person, but do
Yeah.
I feel like we're super connected? Probably not. And I think that's okay. I think that like, we're all meant for the people that we're meant to be around. And I honestly, like, I've spent, and the more I put myself out there and spend more time in these like queer, especially queer BIPOC communities, the more I'm like, I'm learning too. Like, I'm like, man, like, I didn't know that this was a thing. I didn't know that this was like, I'm meeting the drag queens that I didn't know were like technically famous. I'm like, I've never seen drag a day in my life. I don't know this. I've never seen this before. You're looking at me like you're 27 years old and you never seen drag? No. I didn't know that it was a thing. Well, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know that this is who I'm talking to right now. What? That's
Yeah.
insane. And then it's like, all right, well, now I could put myself in that more. So that's why I think I'm really big on like putting myself out there as much as possible now, because I'm like, you don't know what you don't know. So the more
Yeah.
you put yourself out there, the more you get to learn from other people, the more you go to different places. Like, the director and writer of Layers, they're in Texas. Like, they want me to come to Texas to like film something. And it's like, I've been to Texas once, but I went with my ex-girlfriend to stay on a farm and all of it was white. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't me going to Texas to be a part of a Black film situation. You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole different experience. It's a whole different level of community that I'm like, this is going to be different than, being on a farm in Texas. You know what I mean? Like, there's just
Yeah.
different levels to it.
There definitely is. And I agree. I couldn't agree with you more of just like the older that I get of just like wanting to be around people who that, I mean, you identify with more. Like, it's just something different in those spaces. And it's similar to you is I never had that previously in life. So it's like now I would like that for the rest of my life. So to change that, I think it's honestly like filled me up personally a lot more of just like, man, this is where I should be. Like this space, I've never felt this way in a space. Like mine was, yours was in the lavender parties, but like last year I went to Washington, D.C. for the Black Pride. And when I tell you, like, my jaw was just like, this is what I've been missing out on all my life. Like, what the heck? It filled me up so much. And like, I got to experience it with my fiance and like, it's her first time, but she's just now part of this community. So she's getting all this like right away. I'm like, I've never experienced this either. She's asking me questions. I'm like, I don't have the answers for you. We're learning this shit together.
We're gonna learn it together.
Yes. Like I had never been to like a ball to where like they do different categories and all that. Like I was like, this shit is dope. Like, man, like it was awesome. And like I will continue to find those spaces like you just because of how important that it is, like, and what it does to me and the feelings that I get when I'm in those spaces for sure.
It's like fill your cup. And then it's like, when you fill your cup, it's like, why it's like you drink water for the first time and you spend your whole life being so thirsty. And then you do, and then you're like, now you're in front of a whole ocean and you could just drink from it. It's like, why would I go back to the desert? I'm not. Why
Yes.
would I turn around and be like, oh, I'm going to go back here because this is what I know. This is what I could be getting. Yeah, I'm going to dive in. Like, I'm drinking every last drop of that. I want more of it, actually. I think we should make the ocean bigger. You know what I mean? Like why
Yes.
not keep adding to it? And it's like, you don't know that until you keep putting yourself out there and putting yourself in the situations to like learn about that. And so like, I think that's where a lot of it is like, I think that's where social media is so important. Doing things like this is so important because it's like, this is going to be something that like is going to be shared to so many people. So many people are probably going to resonate with it. But then it's like, dang, I found this level of community, this level of community. Like one of my favorite things right now, it's like, I'm blowing up on Instagram right now and I didn't expect to. It was an accident. And in the last like 3 days, I've got like almost 3,000 followers from like 100
Hell
followers. And I'm like, God,
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what happened? But it's because I posted a video talking about, you know, how I think that if they do a bathroom bill, it would be really detrimental because the argument that a lot of conservative women use is a man is going to put on a dress and go in a bathroom and hurt a woman. But if a bill like this is passed and it requires trans men, trans masks like me to use the same bathrooms, then you now don't need men to put on a dress to do it. They'll just walk in and say, hey, I'm a trans guy. Like
Yeah.
now it's just 10 times easier. And people are up in arms.
Yeah.
You got
That's
so
true
many people
though.
are
It's a
like,
fact.
it's true. It's true. And you got so many people that are like agreeing with me that are like, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how no one's thinking of this. People are reposting my video. Like I just looked, someone reposted my video. They got like 1 million followers. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of people. But like they're reposting my video and it's like, this makes sense. So many people are agreeing. So many people are disagreeing. And like have so many things that, you know, like they want to use to combat like that in itself. Like there's so many people in the comments that like I've never had my comments blow up so much. Like usually on TikTok, I can keep up with my comments. I respond to people. I can't keep up because Instagram is like a war zone. Someone comments something on Instagram, everybody is looking at the comments on Instagram and they are responding. There's comment threads that are like 100 plus replies. I'm like, I'm gonna let them go. I'm gonna let the army handle it. They got this. Sometimes I'll see one that pop up and I'm like, I catch it and I'm like, I like what you said there. That you ate with that one. Someone says something ridiculous. Absolutely not. You're getting blocked. But like, just like social media is such a large place to be finding community. And that's what I did with like my TikTok and like bringing so much together. And like, I want to continue to build on that and bring so many people together. And then in turn, same thing for my Instagram now of like bringing this community together. But then it's like, how do I keep that momentum? How do I keep moving forward? How do I keep bringing people together? And what about me is drawing people to me? And how do I amplify that? Like how, if it's love, if it's like another video that's blowing up is me being really mad. Like I'm really angry that you guys treat trans women this way. This makes me really mad. And so many trans women are like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so glad you said this. And I'm like, girl, you don't need me to say, I love you. Like you do not need to, I love you and I'm glad you love me. And then the people that are coming to my comments supposed to step away about it, what aren't you understanding? You need to protect people, but especially trans women. Don't play with me with that. You know what I mean? But then I think I find so much family in that because so many people are like, man, this means a lot. Someone said in my comments today, like, I just found you 30 minutes ago and like, I think you like saved my life. Like, and they say things like that and we don't know, like, I don't know if that person's saying it just to say it, but also like, I take everything like that with more than a grain of salt. Like that is a huge thing. Like there are so many people that I probably have never commented on that has changed my life, but to feel the need to do that and to say that. And so many people do now message me or comment or say something in that regard. And it's like, I can't stop now. You know, I can't pull away now. I have to keep going because this representation, even if it's one person, it matters, right? Like my brother is like, he is a military man. He's really big in the military. And he's so proud of me. He talks about me to his sailors and he's like at war right now. And like, he's like, yo, if it wasn't for you, like I wouldn't be able to have these conversations and talk about these things. And my pride for you is the thing that like really keeps me going. And like my brother and I, we just like, we did not have the best relationship growing up. And to hear that now just means the world. But it's like, even if it's one person, like one person is a whole bunch. That's like huge. You know what I mean? That's a whole life. So it's like there being 18,000 on Instagram and or 18,000 on TikTok and almost 3,000 on Instagram. It's just like we can keep building on that. And one
Yeah.
day, give it by 30, I'm on a red carpet and there's more people and more people and more people saying this meant something because representation matters. That means something. So I just, if it got to be anybody, it's going to be me, you know?
Yes, I love it. I love it. And I love like just like your social media journey, like a lot of people they get tough on themselves, just like, oh, I'm just posting and posting and nothing's catching. I just think just like let it naturally happen. I feel like you just naturally being yourself, expressing yourself overnight, it literally can happen overnight. Like you do
Yeah.
not know what that algorithm, it just does something and it's just like, okay. So just like if you want it, just continue to keep posting. I think you're doing great. Your content's great. I think you telling your story, like it's so important because I think you're just like giving people someone to look up to or just like different scenarios. Like I didn't know about the nipple thing. I didn't even know that was a thing, like to where you could like put them on or to have that choice or whatnot. So just
Yeah.
like being the person that's like, okay, and not being upset like when people come and ask you questions too, like of like what you're telling. I think, okay, some questions I'm not going to answer that, you know, like I'm sure you get those,
Yeah.
but it's just like there probably is a lot of people part of the community, some curious about being a part of the community that are just interested because you're giving that platform. So don't stop, continue to do that. Because like I said, the representation that you're showing, it definitely matters. And I think just like a different representation too of just like I said previously, like the non-binary part of it, of just like you can do this and still stay true to who you are. Like you don't have to fit these worldviews of like what you should be. Like if you're going to do this, if you want to start taking testosterone, like you can do it in your own way. Like, or if you want to take estrogen, you can do it in your own way.
Yeah.
And wear what you want to wear. They're just clothes, you know, like
Yeah.
it does not make up like a biological sex. Like it doesn't say like this is who you
Yeah.
are because you wear these clothes. So
Yeah.
I
The
really
most
enjoy that.
important thing is that you are happy to be here. You are happier than you were yesterday, and you're happy to be here. Because the whole point of life, no one knows what's after this. No one knows what came before. No one actually knows. There's no way to be definitively 100% sure of anything. You don't know. But what we do know is that at the end of the day, what makes you the most happy? And if you go for that and you get that and you strive for that, why stop? And then when the time comes that it ends, can you end it on a good note? Can you say, I did everything and I feel happy? I was happy when I did it. I was happy now. That's what matters. That's the most important part. Just are we living our lives to be as absolutely happy as we possibly can be and to spread as much happiness as we can? Like, how much happiness can we give to others if we have so much within ourselves? And when that happens, it's like by the time this is all over, it's going to be like, dang, this is over because it's like, that's sad. It sucks. But then it's also like, but I did so much. It feels so good. And it's so good. And ultimately, I've got to live the happiest life that I could, regardless of who was around. The people that were around meant something. They come in waves, people come in seasons. But the one thing that is always consistent, regardless of change, is yourself. That is the one thing you can't get rid of, you know? So it's like if you can't get rid of it and you have to be with it, be happy with it. And how can you do that? And not the way other people say, oh, be happy with life because of this, or you have to be happy with yourself. I hate that. You should have been happy with what you got, happy with this. If there's something that would make you happier, go for it. And if it does make you happier and you get it, then keep going for it.
Yeah.
And as long as you're happy, that's the best part.
Yep. I agree with you more. I usually say like, is there any final advice? That was great advice. That was awesome
Yeah.
advice. Is there anything else
That would have
that,
been my final.
yeah, I was like, is there anything else that you would like
Yeah.
to add with that or just like anything else? That was great advice though.
Yeah. I think that my final advice would be the person that you need to please more than anything in this entire world is yourself. And if you're doing that and it's not harming anyone else, there's no reason to stop. And there's no reason to accept less than what you deserve or what you feel you deserve. Because if that's what makes you happy, there's no reason to stop. That would be what I say.
Yes, you got to wake up to yourself every day. You wake up
Yeah.
with your body, your mind, whatever you have going on. No one does it for you. So it
Yeah.
is important to just like be who you want to be, and stay true to you. I think, especially if they ain't paying your bills, you out the house.
Yeah, look,
Oh,
y'all want to give me some money, that's a different story, right? But y'all not paying no bills. I gotta still go to work after this, but it is what it is, At the end of the day, how am I the most happy that I could be? But if y'all deserve it, hey, look, we can have a different conversation. That's a different combo. We're
yeah.
just not doing that.
Yes. I just appreciate your story. I think it's so like the nuggets that we've got out of this story of just like for one setting those boundaries. I think being you had to get to a place first to where you were fully comfortable within yourself to be like, okay, I'm ready to set these boundaries. So getting yourself to a place where you're able to do that, you're able to just like be free and show who you are, I think is just like so awesome. And just like being okay if they never come back. I think that's an important part too.
Yeah.
Is just like being okay if you never have these people in your life again. To be happy for yourself,
Yeah.
is 100% the
And you
representation.
gotta be, yeah, I agree. You gotta be okay with it, with if it ends. I even tell my wife that. Like, I love my wife to death. My wife is my soulmate, be together forever. If my wife decided tomorrow to leave me, I will be okay.
Yes.
Genuinely. If she was like, I want to break up, I don't want to be with you tomorrow, okay,
Yeah.
goodbye.
Yeah. And I think that's just like in the confidence piece too that we talked about too. Is just like the confidence that you have within yourself. Like you've built that for you. Like you're able to give these affirmations to yourself. You're able to just like put that in your head. Like you will be okay because you will. Like life does
Yeah.
go on. Like no offense to the fiance and the wife, but like there was a life before you, we
Yeah.
were fine. So it's like you just have to the affirmations that you give yourself, the confidence that you put on yourself, it does play a big role in your journey in life in general, whether you're queer or not. Just like having that confidence, like you say, it is a skill, and it is important for everyone to master that skill. I think
Sure.
whether
You
you
gotta
have to
work on it every day.
put the sticky notes up, write those affirmations down, and build your confidence up. I think that's important for you to do. Yeah, I can't wait to see you in a few years, on that red carpet. I think
I'm gonna be there.
it's obtainable. It's obtainable. I think like never stop chasing your dreams. Like that's important too. Just like you're tapping back in your creativity. You're gonna get it. I think it's important for everyone to stay creative. Like, do not get stuck in the rat race of just being stuck and sad
Yeah.
in where you are in
Yeah.
life because you feel like you're at an age in life where it's too late. It's not too late. Oprah was 40 years old when she became who she was and got some money. And
Mm.
there's a lot more people who have just got to an age and where it's just like they weren't at the age that they expected either. So it's like keep grinding, continue. And with you as well, Al, like you just posted the content. You just started the content not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like, and you're where
Yeah. It's
you
gonna be like
are.
2 years soon.
Yeah, so just continue to do it. Al, I appreciate it so much. But yeah, thank you so much for being on Queen Talk. Is there anything else like a part of your story that you're like, man, I wish I would have shared that today or got to?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just thank you so much for having me. I think that this is awesome. This is a great opportunity. I think that it helps in like, reaffirming myself and putting myself out there. I agree with what you said of like, it feels too late. Like sometimes like I even tell myself that like it feels too late. Like I'm 27 and I haven't been on TV yet. No one's gonna, whatever the case may be. And that's why I'm telling myself that like, no, by 30, I'm on a red carpet. And I think that it's 100% obtainable. And I think that there's people that act at 60. Like there's a reason and there's a way to get there. And I just have to find it, whether it's putting myself out there, whether it's posting, whether it's, auditions, whatever the case may be. But I think that the biggest thing that I'll ever regret in life is if I fear embarrassment, right? Like there's something that, like I say a lot that like when the time comes, like if there's any regrets that I would have, I would rather like be embarrassed right now and feel so much embarrassment that I put myself out there than feel the regret of never being able to do it, because you can't go back. So if I'm 80 years old on my deathbed and I'm like, dang, I didn't touch that red carpet at 30 because I was embarrassed to like send audition tapes or whatever the case may be, or embarrassed to go on this podcast and have this conversation, embarrassed to talk about my story. That embarrassment in the moment, that fear in the moment is nothing compared to the level of regret that you'll feel. And I feel like that'll be more painful than anything else because you can't go back and change it. So why not do it now, feel it now, go through it now, and then potentially it blows up and something big happens. And if it does, awesome. And if it doesn't, you keep striving for more. But at least when the day comes, it's not like, dang, I wish I did.
Yeah, exactly. Living in regrets is the worst thing. Like, and then like looking back, like, oh, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would just start now. Start with what you have. Like, don't wait for like the perfect opportunity, because something's always going to come up. It's never going to be perfect. So yeah, you're doing great. I love it. I love that. And I thank you so much for being on this podcast and sharing your story. And what do you guys think of this episode? Are you guys giving yourself affirmations? Are you confident? Are you setting boundaries with your family? If so, what boundaries are those? Are you out here chasing dreams? Are you picking something back up that maybe you thought you didn't have anymore? Yeah, share your story. What representation too do you have in your city? I want to know, like, different cities, like what's that one spot that you can go to that you can guarantee that has a spot for queer people of color where you feel seen as well. But
Yeah, where we
yeah,
going next?
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to hit it all up. I'm
Yup.
trying to hit these different cities and experience that, because like I said, when I went to DC, yeah, I was just like, there was no other. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was a good
Yeah.
time. It was a good time. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Make sure you guys leave those comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, remember, as always, family, friends, strangers, love and be nice.